Hi writers, it's Mrs. Cox here for your 8th fiction writing lesson. And today we are going to talk about series writers investigate. And the question we are going to look into or investigate today is, what makes realistic fiction realistic? And I'm thinking to myself, what does realistic mean? Let's look further. So realistic fiction is a made-up story. It has characters, a setting, and events that could exist in real life. So it could happen in real life. Writers, you have done an excellent job of developing your realistic fiction stories. Earlier this week, we talked about introducing your character. We used dialogue, we talked about using action and our feelings. Today, I want to talk to you about keeping it real. So today, I want to teach you that realistic fiction writers often study what makes realistic fiction seem so realistic. Then, they use their own experiences to write stories that seem real, or they could happen in real life. So in the story that I read last week, Henry and Mudge and the Happy Cat, we talked about different parts and how each character was feeling. So what feels real about this story? We talked about their feelings. They were, remember, there was the cat, the scruffy cat. And how were they feeling? They fell in love with Dave. But what happened when Dave left? They had those real feelings. What else felt real about this story? Could a cat really come to their house? Could a dog really be best friends with a boy? Could this boy really be named Henry? And could this dog really be named Mudge? What else feels real about this story? Go ahead and pause the video and think for yourself. What feels real about this happy cat and Henry and Mudge? All right, writers, so today I want us to think about, does Cynthia Rylant, the author, keep it real? Who are the characters? You're right, Henry and Mudge. Where does it take place? You're right, at their home. They're at home. Does that seem real? Could that actually happen? Does Cynthia Rylant keep it real? Absolutely. She said it happened at their home or at their house. That is so realistic. It didn't happen on the moon. And then what are the characters doing? Remember, the cat came by, Dave the scruffy cat, and they are trying to find his owner. But they're really sad. They have those feelings of sadness when Dave leaves. Could that really happen? All right. So the story is realistic. It could really happen. The story starts in Henry's house, not on a spaceship or inside a volcano. Henry and his dad are wearing normal clothes, and they're sitting on the couch and watching TV. This feels very real. Does the TV turn into an alien and swallow Mudge? No. Mudge hears a noise at the door and barks. Mudge is like a real dog. This is something that could happen in real life. The cat loves living with them, and the thing the cat loves are real. The towel closet, the bathtub, and Mudge. Does the cat turn into a ninja or leave on a rocket? No. The cat does real cat things. So let's take a look. We're going to do a quick check-in of our characters. Is it realistic or not realistic? So let's take a look at this one. She looks like she has a mermaid tail, so she might be a mermaid. She has a fish here in her hand. Realistic or not realistic? What do you think? You're right, not realistic. Let's take a look at this girl here. Looks like she has a uniform on. She's happy. Realistic or not realistic? Could this be a real character in real life? You're right, realistic. All right, let's look at this one. Purple, I can't tell what it is. Maybe a monster. It has horns, one eyeball, 3 fingers on each hand. Realistic or not realistic? You're right, not realistic. We do not see these in our everyday life, this one-eyed, purple, green-spotted monster. And then let's look at this last character. Realistic or not realistic? You're right, realistic. This boy could be somebody that we would meet in real life. Let's look at these settings. Could these settings be realistic or not realistic? This one is a picture of a school. What do you think? You're right, realistic. This could be a setting in real life, going to school, just like how you go to school. This one's a picture of a rocket ship. What do you think? Realistic or not realistic? You're right. So this one's a little trickier. It's not realistic for most of us. You're right. There are some astronauts, people, men and women that do get to go to the moon, but it is not something that happens in our lives every single day. This is not our normal mode of transportation, the way that we get to school. So we would probably say this one is not realistic for most of our stories. Let's take a look at this one. This one looks like a house. Realistic or not? What do you think? You're right, realistic. This is a great setting, and many of you have included this in your writing already, and one that is a really popular part. A lot of things happen when you're at home and at school. These are 2 very important and realistic settings. Let's take a look at our last one, this pink-looking house with, maybe it's a castle with some teal flags. What do you think, realistic or not? You're right. It is not realistic. Not many of us live in a big pink and purple castle with blue flags up here. This is a great setting for another story, but not for our realistic fiction stories. This is not realistic. So today, your challenge is to look through your story and check back and see, is your story realistic or not realistic? If you find some parts that are not realistic, we're going to need to go back through and make them real. So keep it real. It could happen in real life. It could be a made-up story, but it has characters, setting, and events that could exist in real life. Good luck, writers.